Welcome to another episode of CrossTalk. My name is Kevin Tocci, and I will be your host for this segment. What do we talk about? We talk about some of the great things that are going on in the two communities that we serve, Whitman and Hanson. The idea is to bring you up to speed. It's not just one particular conversation. We can be talking about the latest issue. We can be introducing you to some of the stakeholders that do great work in this town. It could be an event that's coming up. It could be something that is political. Who knows? But we use this as kind of a catch-all for many of those things. Today, as we do on an annual basis, we're here to talk a little bit about a fantastic event that's going, its 17th iteration. That's right, the Taste of Whitman and Hanson. Yes, you're salivating at the thought because it's only a couple of short weeks away on March 5th. As you know, it's always held at the Whitman VFW Post 697 from 5:30 to 8 p.m. And we usually sit down with the great Michael Ganshirt, who is the president of the Whitman and Hanson Dollars for Scholars, and he gives us not only the details about this event, but he also brings you up to speed of a lot of the different events that the Whitman and Hanson Dollars for Scholars do to help our graduating seniors. Of course, it's going to be the graduating seniors of the class of 2026. As you know, in the spring they put the little thermometers with the dollars as they're raising money. Michael?
Yeah, the thermometers are in storage right now, but they're coming out soon.
Okay. But this is a fantastic paid event that folks, you have various numbers of vendors who will come in to, share their stuff from their menus. People can sample it, and it also is for a good cause. Let's kind of start off by telling the listeners we can't always assume that everybody understands what it is that the Whitman and Hanson Dollars for Scholars does. But tell us a little bit of the mission statement and why it's so important for local students.
Well, I know when I was in high school, a long, long time ago, I had to go to college, and my family wasn't going to be able to afford it. So you kind of got the talk early on, you better get good grades and you better get scholarships because that's probably the only way you're going to be able to go on to college. And that's what Dollars for Scholars basically is. It's to give assistance to the students, the graduating high school seniors from Whitman or Hanson, or if they attend Whitman Hanson as well. We provide them some kind of financial assistance for the first year that they're there. The scholarships are based upon an application. The application is reviewed by an anonymous committee. They don't know the students' names, and then ultimately we have awards night the last Wednesday in May, and that's where we present our scholarships. It's grown tremendously since 1962 was the first year that we did it, and I think they gave out about 3,100. I didn't check my notes, but it was a very small amount. But back then that was probably a sizable amount, and now we are up to 186,000 last year, and our goal this year is 188. So eventually we'll hit the 200,000 mark. Fingers crossed.
Talk to me. How has the need for scholarships changed over the years?
Well, nowadays, the student debt has just increased more and more and more, and it's basically because colleges have increased in their tuition prices. So the need is never greater than it is now. So we try to fill some of that need. We can't fill it all, obviously, with the cost of colleges being $40,000 a year. We can't fill anything like that. But we try to at least give them an opportunity to go their first year, so they can at that point try to find whatever assistance they can find.
In a moment, we'll get to the one of the signature events for the Whitman and Hanson Dollars for Scholars, which is the Taste of Whitman and Hanson. But what are some of the other events that are held throughout the year that folks have an opportunity to be able to help raise money for scholarships?
As I tell new members that join us, we have a very aggressive fundraising calendar. We usually try to do 2 events a month. Usually one of them will be some kind of a fundraising event, and the other one will be some kind of donation canning standing out at supermarkets. So in the past year, we've already had our fall electronic recycling day. We have one in the fall and one in the spring. And that's an opportunity for people to rid themselves of some of their unwanted electrical items or appliances, They pay us a fee. We have a recycling company that comes that day with a truck. They load up the truck, and then the customer's happy because they got rid of their stuff, and then the environment's happy because we're recycling things. So that's usually bookends our season. We have a fall one in September. We have a spring one in usually the end of April, beginning of May. Another big signature event that we have is our Classic Car Show. It's a Halloween-themed event, which makes it a little more fun, and that's usually at the high school Columbus Day weekend. It's a really spectacular event. It really is, and it's fantastically attended, but there's one caveat: it can't rain that day. Obviously, if it rains, classic cars don't want to come out. And we've had the last 2 years, we've had some sprinkles and some cloudiness, and that has dampened some of our attendance. But when it is sunny and it's a nice day, the place is packed. And then the final event that we've had already this year is the Christmas tree event, holiday tree lighting event, which we hold in the Whitman Town Park. We started it because during COVID, we couldn't do any indoor fundraisers, so we had to brainstorm and come up with some kind of an event that we could have outside. And the park is a beautiful historic place, and holiday, most everybody celebrates holiday, so we kind of did the tree lighting event, and that has become our biggest fundraiser in terms of dollar amounts. So that's the fall, and then we have some stuff coming up in the spring.
Talk to me about the Christmas tree event, because It seems as though it has not only grown in popularity, but any group in town can get involved, or any individual put a tree up, decorate it to their heart's delight.
Yeah.
How have you seen this event grow and again, become one of the bigger events for your organization?
Well, the best thing about it is just what you say, is that each individual business, organization, family, neighborhood can participate just by decorating their own tree. They give us, they make a donation of $100, and then we provide them with the tree, the lights, the stand, and a sign. And they can decorate it in however. Some do a very traditional tree, and others do crazy upside down tree, a Grinch tree. They'll do all kinds of, they'll use their creative juices and come up with some kind of a interesting theme. The other thing that we added after the first couple of years is we did add judges, and we added a voting contest, so it gets the community involved too, to determine who their favorite tree was during the event. Can I mention one more thing? And we've tried to add more and more entertainment as well. And I think initially the first year it was just basically the tree lighting, but we've done it now. We do it over a weekend, and so on Friday night, Saturday, Sunday, we try to add some entertainment events. The middle school will be there, a dance troupe will be there, so that people have more things and more activities to come enjoy and be entertained by.
Let's talk about yet another big fundraiser, and the one that we're here to kind of promote.
Sure.
The Taste of Whitman and Hanson.
That's my favorite.
What
you can
makes,
see why.
what makes this event such a favorite in these two communities?
It gives everyone the opportunity to, in one sitting, get to visit with restaurants without having to physically go in the restaurant and order things. They can sample things from the restaurants. So in order to visit 20 different restaurants in Whitman, you'd have to, it would take you a long time to do that. Now we put it all in one place, and obviously food is being served, which is always an enticement. And you also get to talk to the restaurateur, which is very important. They get to talk about what their menu is. Me as the public get to tell you what I liked about your restaurant, what food offerings I like, what I'd like to see more of. So there's a good give and take between the people eating the food and the people serving the food.
And it's worth noting to let folks know, again, as I mentioned at the opening of the show, it's taking place, it's Thursday, March 5th, at the Whitman VFW Post 697. As soon as you walk in the door, you'll be greeted by, I believe, students and individuals who are part of the Whitman Hanson Dollars for Scholars. What can they expect the moment they walk into the door on the upper level of the VFW Post? A
lot of people. No,
depends on when you show up.
That's right. So when they come in, there's a food table smack bang right there in the middle, and they can go to either side, and then it's kind of like a circular fashion, so that they can just go from place to place to place. I would say it's kind of like a convention. It's not a sit-down event. We do have some tables available for if you want to sit down. We have chairs throughout the place, but there's a couple tables we throw out so for people that want to sit down or need to sit down. But it's basically a wandering event where you're bouncing from one thing to another. We have 20 restaurants. Some of them are repeat. If you've gone before, you'll say, oh yeah, they were there before, they were there. We try to add 2, 3, 4 new restaurants so that it gives them great exposure, and it allows you to sample foods from a place that may be new that you really haven't gone into yet, but you're thinking about going into.
Yeah, and folks who like to go out occasionally to restaurants, myself, I probably have on the South Shore probably anywhere between 25 and 30 restaurants that I'd like to go to.
Yeah.
Are there a core 5 to 6 that I'll go to?
Yeah.
Yeah, but I like to every now and then the missus will go, hey, let's go here, and we'll go outside of our 2 or 3 mile radius. And there are restaurants in the Whitman and Hanson area, and it's not those restaurants that come aren't necessarily just in Whitman and Hanson. You actually have some that are in the surrounding communities, right?
So when we first started, we thought we'd try to do Whitman and Hanson, and then anybody that may have a Whitman and Hanson connection. For instance, Mia Ragazza is owned by the Martin family, and Kristen grew up in Hanson. So we try to get people that had that kind of a connection to the 2 communities. But as we were doing it, we're like, well, no, you should. If they're serving the Whitman and Hanson community, even though they're just over the doorstep of Whitman or Hanson, so we figured we'd expand it a little bit. So we do a lot of, I'd say, we have four restaurants from Hanson. We usually have about 7 or 8 from Whitman, and probably 6 or 7 from East Bridgewater, Hanover, Abington, Rockland, those communities that border us.
It's also worth noting that besides that, I think you also have, I think you have students from the South Shore Technical Culinary Program that are there, and usually you see Dr. Tom Hickey wandering around and greeting folks and talking to folks. Let's not forget he's also a Hanson resident.
Correct.
So, you know, he's not only he's there wearing 2 hats. Talk to me about some of the organizations that aren't necessarily restaurants that will come and attend as well, besides like South Shore Technical.
So our mix is, when we first started doing this, there were a couple people that gave a little chuckle and said, oh, what are you just going to have pizza places? Thinking that's all we have in Whitman and Hanson. We do have a lot more. So we try to give it some kind of a mix. So it's not going to be all bakeries. It's not going to be all chocolate places. It's not going to be all, it's going to be a mixture of all those things. So that's what we try to, that's why I try not to have too many pizza places. Mike's House of Pizza usually does the pizza. So we try to mix it up a little bit. We have the sit-down restaurants that are there. Hitching Post, Meadowbrook. So the breakfast places. Cowbell's Cafe will be there, but we've also had Cast Iron Cafe there before. So different bakeries.
Costco's, you've had Costco's?
Costco is our bakery this year, as well as there is 2 places that you probably, I don't know that you've heard of, or they do stuff out of the house. The first is Shib's Cookie Studio.
They were there last year, weren't they?
They weren't, but they were at Whitman Day, so you may have seen them at Whitman Day.
All right.
And I was right next to them at Whitman Day, and I said, oh, well, maybe this cookie lady would like to give samples of her food so people can buy cookies from her. And the other one is somebody that walked into the town hall to get a business certificate, and of course I didn't ask her then because I was on town business, but her place is called Flour and Bee, and she does breads and honey. Oh. And I said, well, that would be an interesting addition. So she's, I think, going to do cinnamon rolls because that's made out of the bread that she makes. So that will be an interesting addition. And the other third one that's new right now is Deegs on the Go. So they will be there as well. He's helped us with the car show. He has a food truck, and he provided a food truck for the car show. But he's going to have he does salad bowls and rice bowls and baked potatoes and stuff like that. So I didn't know what he's bringing. That's one of the things is a lot of times you'll ask me, do you know what everyone's bringing? And I don't really. I mean, I have an idea based on maybe the previous year, what people are bringing, but I don't ask them in advance. Oh, what are you doing this year? It's up to them, whatever their culinary ideas are. Do you yourself, if anybody has ever gone to the event, usually in the beginning, Michael's usually very busy, going from one point to the other, making sure that everything is,
going well, as well as some of the other members of the Whitman Hanson Dollars for Scholars. Do you ever have a chance or a moment to kind of sample anything or see how everything's going?
Occasionally, but I don't do a lot of it. So I never get to Meadowbrook because there's usually a big line in front of Meadowbrook, and they're at the beginning. But sometimes if I'm on a side that's not as crowded, I'll be able to grab something on the go and try to eat it quickly, and so I can get back to what I'm working on.
I think you also now. Who would you say is the veteran? Is there one particular organization that has been a part of, is going to be part of the 17th that has been there from day one? I don't know if Trios would be that, or it would be someone else.
Trios will be there. They were one of our original ones. There was a year or two that they had to miss because they were on vacation. I didn't go through my brain thing on this, but I do know Skinner's has been there since day one. And Shaw's has been there since day one.
Okay.
And I'm probably forgetting somebody. And it may not be fair because like Meadowbrook has been there every day that they've been in existence. But when we started, it was Bernardo's or whatever iteration of that it was.
Right.
So they've been there every year since they've come on board in Hanson. So yeah.
And then you have Christos to go.
Christos to go will be there. Yeah, I saw Gigi last night. Got a hamburger from there. It was very good. So I did see Gigi. She will be there, and she's working on what she might be bringing. I know she usually brings her salad, and then she has something else with it. She's had chicken salad
Finger
before.
sandwiches, I think.
Exactly.
Yeah.
She's had her Greek desserts. Baklava, is that what it is?
Yeah.
So she always brings something good.
Okay. Talk to me about the importance of attending an event like this, because not only is it supporting the Whitman and Hanson Dollars for Scholars, but also isn't it kind of supporting those local businesses too?
Oh, absolutely. When I advertise, I actually send it out to our school committee members, our select people, our state representatives, because I think it's good that they show their face and make a presence because it is such a community event. And it doesn't happen, you're right, without the participants of the business community, the restaurateurs who are the hardest working people in the towns, the private business owners who are there, how many, 40, 50, 60 hours a week trying to make their business thrive. And this is just another way that they can promote their business. And everybody that goes, I know this sounds strange, everybody that goes to the Taste is a nice person. They really are. I always tell that there's always somebody that's going to get a little nervous, and I'll say, no, don't worry, you cannot disappoint these people that are going to this event. They're really some of the nicest people in the community.
Yeah, and being able to meet, again, not only to meet the people who are putting their heart and souls into their business, and they're there for those 2.5, 3 hours, to be able to share their fare and hopefully entice you to add, their restaurant or their eatery to your list. But yeah, you talk about local and state dignitaries that show up there, and a lot of your neighbors and friends who go there. What does it mean to continually host this event at the Whitman VFW Post 697? Talk to me about the partnership with them.
It's a great partnership. It's really a facility that takes care of all of our needs. They have the bar, they have the large enough room. I know they probably get frustrated that I need this many tables because we have the 20 vendors and we have some raffle tables and we need tables for the flyers, but they do a great job setting the event up and then helping us break it down. So, and the bartenders are wonderful. Whoever is serving is usually very helpful. They provide us with a microphone. It's really a very good venue if you want to hold some kind of event like that.
Okay. You mentioned raffle. Talk to us about that. That's something that also takes place somewhere towards later on in the event. What can folks expect?
It usually signals, we're going to be wrapping up soon, and it allows the restaurants to kind of get a head start so that they're out about 8 o'clock, because I know they have long days, long nights, and it's an opportunity for them to get some of their stuff broken down. The raffles that we have, we typically try to get raffle baskets or raffle cards that, again, are food related. So we try to get restaurant ones. So we usually have about 14, 15 raffles in addition to a 50-50 raffle. And it just provides a little break in the evening so that people can gather around and hopefully win something nice. And it provides us extra funds, obviously. That's the key. We're trying, as much as we're trying to have fun, we're also trying to raise money for students going on to college, and this gives us a little extra something.
Talk to me about the folks who make up the Whitman and Hanson Dollars for Scholars, whether it's the committee itself.
Can't stand them. No, I'm not.
Talk to me about the team that is and the effort that goes into an event like this.
So our organization is built up of adults and students. So as far as students go, last year we had I believe it was 140 students that actually volunteered at least one event for Dollars for Scholars, which is an amazing number if you think about it. And as far as adults go, we had about 30 volunteers. Not everyone comes to every meeting, not everyone comes to every event. It's kind of split up. But it really does take a large group to do all of the stuff that we do throughout the course of the year. Like I said, we're very aggressive with our fundraising, and I try to explain that to any new person that comes to the board. It sounds like all we're talking about is money, but that's basically what we do is we raise money in order to help students. So we do have a lot of fundraisers throughout, and it takes a lot of adult and student volunteers to accomplish our goals, and we've been very fortunate. I know a lot of groups sometimes we'll sit out of meetings and we'll say, oh, we need some more volunteers. And I have to take a step back and say, you know what? We have 15 adults that made it to this meeting on a Wednesday night in January where it's snowing. We're doing very well, even though we'd like to do better, you know?
You know, and knowing in you look at today's economy, you look at how things continue to increase in costs, whether it's heating your home, whether it's your groceries, and knowing that there are other local organizations that are trying to get the same dollar that you are, and knowing that you're close to crossing over the $200,000 threshold in monies that you're going to give back to these students. What does it mean to you and your organization to be able to continuously raise those dollars and be able to give back to the community?
It's interesting. Every year I say, I don't know how we're going to do when we cross our fingers. And every year, like for instance this year, I know it's a difficult year, but we're on pace to what we want to raise, which is the 188 our goal. And every year I'm always surprised, but people are really generous with their money. They really are. They don't get, it's not advertised. Some of it's businesses, and there is some, they sponsor a scholarship, but some of them are families, and some of them are just individual people that have no connection to the high school, don't have any students any longer. They may have had students, but they don't any longer. And they just realize that the importance of education, and they want to help support it. And this is one way they can help support it locally and make a real difference.
It sounds a little bit like when Jerry Lewis used to do the muscular dystrophy telethons, and he was always,
Ed, tell us what's on the board.
$1 more. It sounds like that's your similar motto. Do you have a favorite story, example of students whose lives were truly changed thanks to the Dollars for Scholars receiving monies to help them start their college career?
I don't know if I have a favorite story. I will say we had this student who, I think it was last year. She had just graduated from college, and she came into town hall, and she gave me a check for $250, and she gave me another check for $250 for the food pantry. And she said, you know, I just finished college, and I got a lot of support from the community, and I thought I should give back in this way. And I said, well, that's really nice. This is a student that probably has student loans to pay, and I don't know whether she had a job yet, but she was just fresh out of college, and she wanted to give back to the community. And I think that's real. That's what Dollars for Scholars was started as. Was you're supposed to give to the recipient, and then the recipient in turn, 10 years later, 20 years later, is supposed to give back to the new student that's graduating. And that's kind of how it happened with me. I got involved with Dollars for Scholars when I was in high school. These two ladies came in, parents, Mrs. McLaughlin and Mrs. Redpath from Hanson, and they talked to student council about how they need students to help. And I volunteered, and here I am 40 years later still volunteering. But it's one generation helping the next generation.
Paying it forward.
Paying it forward, yes.
Are you seeking any volunteers for the Taste of Whitman and Hanson, or do you feel that you're set at this moment?
We're always seeking volunteers. The good thing about the Taste of Whitman and Hanson is for student volunteers, they really enjoy the food tasting event.
Of course.
For obvious reasons, there's a little side benefit
Of course.
there. So we usually have a full roster for that event. The other thing is, it happens to fall the first week in March. I believe winter sports are kind of over and spring sports haven't begun, so it just is that sweet spot where they don't have a lot of activities. And so unless they're
playoffs.
That's exactly what I was going to say. It has happened before where girls or boys basketball is in the tourney, and it affects them, the volunteers. We still get a good great attendance, but we sometimes we'll have to try to recruit a couple extra. But usually we're very full. But if anyone does want to volunteer for us, they're more than welcome to go to our website, which is whitmanandhanson.dollarsforscholars.org. And there's a little volunteers tab you can click on, and you can enter your information, and we'll be in touch with you.
And is it Whitman and Hanson spelled out and, or is it?
It is spelled out and, because in our organization's name is Whitman ampersand Hanson, but they don't do the ampersand on the website, so it's whitmanandhanson.dollarsforscholars.org. If you Google it, you'll find it too.
Now, maybe there might be a business owner who's watching this right now. Is there a deadline for businesses to say, hey, I'd like to be a part of this? Or is it you've already filled the bill as to who can be a part of this event on the 5th of March?
No, I'm always looking for one or two more. We have a couple restaurants, Johnny Macaroni's and Costco, which don't send volunteers, so we can kind of combine those tables. So there is always a 21st available for one or two more restaurants if they're so interested in doing. And if they don't want to do it this year, next year we're always looking for 3 or 4 new ones next year, so that there's always a little rotation going on.
Okay, probably got about 2 minutes left, but I think it's enough time to kind of squeeze these things. If someone can't attend, what's another way? Is going to the website if they wanted to donate, or seeking out a member of the Whitman and Hanson Dollars for Scholars and giving them a check? How can they do it?
That's one way. The other way is we do send out a business letter, which just went out to the businesses in Whitman and Hanson. And then at the very beginning of April, we send out a letter to every resident in Whitman and Hanson asking them if they could make a donation to Dollars for Scholars. And then they could also attend one of our events that are coming up in the spring. We have an electronic recycling day coming up. We have a bowling event coming up. We haven't worked on the preparation for those, but those are coming up as well.
Okay. And what about tickets? Are there advanced tickets? Is there somewhere they can go, whether it's the respective town halls or local businesses, or they have to wait until that day to go to the VFW post?
No, we kind of encourage them to, in case we sell out of tickets, we are encouraging them to buy them in advance at Duval's, Sandy's, the town clerk's offices in Whitman and Hanson, Whitman Council on Aging. They're $15 in advance, $20 at the door, and if they want to pay by credit card, you can do it through Eventbrite. So you can just order them at home using your credit card as well.
Okay,
there is an extra fee if you use Eventbrite.
Okay. Yeah, a lot of restaurants are doing that these days. Like if you're paying cash, it's one amount, and then if not, it's like a 3% additional charge. Finally, what's your message to the community as March 5th approaches in regards to this great event and all that you guys do?
Well, we'd like to thank them for all their support that they have given us in the past, and we would love to see them this year. This is a fun fundraiser.
Understatement.
Sometimes you go to a fundraiser and you get sat next to somebody like, oh, I'm going to have to talk to this person for another hour and a half, 2 hours. This is an event, you can just talk to the food. You know, you could just go bounce from table to table, talk to this person, your next door neighbor here, talk to this person you haven't seen over there since the last event, and talk to your restaurant people that you go and see weekly.
Michael, thank you for always stopping by to share details, not only about the Whitman and Hanson Dollars for Scholars, but this fantastic event.
It's always a pleasure. Thank you again.
You got it.
Bye-bye.
We want to thank you for tuning into a show like this. We hope that we better inform you about some of the things happening in and around the two communities that we serve. Until our next conversation, have a great day.